From the floor of the CME Group, this is Danny Riley on today's Cash Close. And you know what the name of this video is going to be called? It's going to be called the S&P 500, the Greeks, no money in the bank, and no food on the table. The high of the day in the S&P came in at 2074.5 recently, or late in the day. The low came in at 2060 even early. At last, we're 2071.20. We're up 30 handles. Total volume, 1.45 million minis trade and 5.5 thousand big S&Ps traded in the pit. The MIM did a little flip-flop. It was showing small to sell, rolled all the way over to 414 million to buy, and the actual MOC came out SPX buy 460 million. Next week, we've got 20 separate economic releases. We've got 4 T-bill or T-bond auctions or announcements. We have 4 Federal Reserve Bank presidents speaking. We have Janet Yellen from the Fed speaking. And we have a slew of second quarter earnings. I mean, I think that that's going to be the big thing that people are going to start to shift on. Now, look, let's talk a little bit about this. I know I've been gone. I don't want to be gone. But Comcast here has not been kind to us. We're trying to get back on our foots. I know you guys want my videos. I want to do them. But I also don't want them to be a pain in the ass to do either. Now, so let's get to the markets. Look, I think at the end of the day, the markets are pretty much doing what they do all the time after a decline. A little back and fill price action. Now, yesterday the futures went out on a low tick, and then all of a sudden the news overnight has the futures up sharply. The S&P pulls back a little bit this morning after gapping higher, and then marches back up into the stops. And I put that stuff out on Twitter. I put it out in the room. Yeah, I know. You know what? I have been off by a couple of days on my calls here. And at the end of the day, you know what? That's the way it goes. I can't help that. But at the same time, I think volume speaks. I think the shorts speak. And you know what? The Greeks have no money in the bank and they have no food on their tables. And they are going to have to do some type of deal. Now, the question is, what type of deal is it going to be? And what is the reaction to the S&P going to be on Monday? My guess is the fact that everybody's short, the volume's starting to decline like I said it would, and I think thin to win will play out a little bit. At least it did today. And I think, again, on Monday it'll play out a little bit. I think that there's a little bit more in here. Now, I just talked to the Pitbull. He said that he thinks 2082 is a gigantic level on the upside. I think 2087, 2088 is a gigantic level on the upside. But that said, you know what? After the last 2 weeks of going sideways to down like we've been going, there's a ton of buy stops to run. And you know what? That just means they're going to do that. Now, we do have a lot of earnings next week, but we also have the expiration study that I want to talk about. On Monday, the expiration stats show Monday being fairly positive, up 18, down 13 of the last 31. Tuesday backs off a little bit, up 13, down 18 of the last 31. Wednesday, the stats get a little better, up 18, down 13 the last 31. Thursday's good, up 20, down 11 the last 31, and then expiration Friday is about 50%. It's up 15, down 30, down 16 the last 31. So at the end of the day, I think what's going on here, you know what? China was a big concern, and then it rallied 9% in 2 days. Greece, they're stuck in a rock and a hard place. They want to stiff their European creditors. They want to walk away from all the money they owe. But you know what? They got no money to do it. And at the end of the day, they are going to be forced into a deal, and they will do a deal. But you know what? It's just a Band-Aid that's going to last for 6 to 9 months, and we'll all be back doing this again. Can you believe that? I can. But by that time, I think the S&P will be up at 2,200. I'll leave it like that. You guys know where I'm at. I'm a bull, but I'm no fool. And I'll see you on Monday on the opening print.